perfect timing as a lifelong Juve fan. More problems off the pitch in Turin.
Yeah, I love to just jump straight into a scandal, so let's get to it.
You're a scandal expert.
That's why I'm here.
He absolutely is. We've got another one coming as well. But first, let me just tell you a quick summary of what has happened. Back on November 28th, the entire Juventus board of directors, including President Andrea Agnelli and Vice President Pavel Nedved, abruptly resigned in the midst of investigations into financial irregularities. Then a new board was named. Gianluca Ferrero was announced as the new president. And then just a day later, December 27th, Agnelli chairs his last shareholder meeting. And in just a couple of weeks' time, the new board of directors will begin their tenure at the next shareholder meeting. I mean, there's plenty to take in. So to help us do with this, we've brought in an expert as we welcome in Gazzetta reporter Filippo Ricci. Filippo, it's fantastic to see you. Ciao, thank you so much for joining us. I suppose the first and obvious question here is, how did Juventus get to this point?
Hi there, first of all, thanks for calling me. Yeah, it all started in 2021 because there was an inquiry. There is a key word here that is in Italian is plusvalenza. No? You have to learn this. In English, it's capital gain. They started two different inquiries because this is a process that goes two ways. There is the ordinary justice and the sporting justice. They started with the sporting justice, the inquiry into this plusvalenza that basically there were 62 market transfers that raised some suspicions. There are two problems in these market transfers that we're talking about. Basically, in most of them, no money was really exchanged. No? With the player involved, most of them were swaps, and they were evaluated at the same price. The most famous case is the Artur Pjanic, between Juventus and Barcelona. And then the second characteristic is that the price tag of the players look ludicrously too high. I don't know, I can name Rovella that went from Genoa to Juventus for 80 million euros, or I don't know, you can mention Portanova again from Genoa to Juventus for 10 million. So the sporting justice looked into this transfer, but then in April last year, the Italian Federation decided that there was no wrongdoings. So they closed the case. Okay, this is the start of everything. But once this inquiry started, the Tribunal of Turin decided to look closer to these cases, and now they launched the Operazione Prisma operation, and that goes into the accounts of Juventus. And there they found not only the problem of the capital gains, but also some possible fraudulent recording in the budget, in the annual budget. And this is where we stand now. After that, the Operazione Prisma started, the Federation decided to reopen the case that they closed in April. So now, in the 20th of January, we will have the first, the starting of a new process in the plusvalenza case. And plus, on the other side, on a parallel side, we have the ordinary justice looking into the accounts of Juventus. And this is where we stand now.
Ciao, Filippo. Great summary. I'm wondering, because the memory of Calciopoli is still very real for many Juventus fans who lived through it in 2006. Can we see similar consequences to Juventus going to Serie B?
It's early days. Let's talk about, Calciopoli. I think the only similarity between the two cases is that, once again, Juventus is involved. But Calciopoli was more a sporting matter. They were looking into, referees, results, yellow cards, red cards, penalty given or not given. This is an economic problem. They are looking into budgets. It's a financial inquiry. So, there are not so many differences. But then now the outcome, yes, could be the same. It's still too early, to define what could be the outcome of these inquiries. But yes, a possibility is that of Juventus going again to Serie B for wrongdoings, and then we'll have to see also the possibility of if this happens. What will happen with the European situation? Obviously, UEFA is following closely the case. But as I said, there could be deduction of points, or there could be nothing, because, as I said before, just a few months ago, 10 months ago, the Italian Federation found nothing wrong in this plusvalenza case. So we'll have to wait and see.
Ciao, Filippo. So what you're saying is, to kind of break it down a bit more, this could have on-pitch ramifications, even though the investigation is solely about off-pitch actions at the moment. But it could end in a very bad scenario if the investigation continues. Okay.
Indeed, because the ordinary justice will decide if Agnelli, Nedved, Rivabene, and the other people who are involved in inquiry actually did something wrong, and so that they can be punished with a fine or with imprisonment. But this is off the pitch. But obviously, what they did off the pitch is related, to what happened on the pitch. So there will be a backlash on a sporting term, no? And now to define that is very, very difficult at the moment. It could be nothing, it could be deduction of point, or it could be, the Serie B. We already, this is why it's right to mention Calciopoli, because this already happened in 2006.
Filippo, how much of this do you think has to do with the fact that Juventus are a publicly traded company in the Italian stock exchange? This isn't a private company, so when you have different shareholders, you have to put these numbers out into the public, right? Because people need to know what they're buying when they get a share of the Juventus stock. So that's my first question. The second one is, we also know that in Italy things sometimes aren't done in the timeliest fashion. So what is exactly the timeline of a judgment that is going to come and something concrete will actually happen in this case?
First one, it's easy. It's key. What you mentioned is key, obviously, because in Italy we don't have so many, clubs that are on the stock exchange, and obviously, these bring in some more transparency. And even if apparently there was not so much transparency in the last few years in the Juventus accounts, so the first point is key. The second is difficult. For the sporting part, I would expect everything to be clear before the end of the season. But for the ordinary justice, obviously, we are thinking, about a longer span, because it's there will be appeals and everything. So for the ordinary justice times, I think we can look at least at the end of the year. But for the sporting decisions, I can see the decision or the verdict to be brought before the end of this season.
Yeah, no doubt. Plenty more headlines to come. We'll see how it all unfolds. Filippo, so good to see you. Thank you so much for keeping us up to date with all the latest there.